Hi guys, welcome to another episode of What the Flow. I'm Sophia Silva, and today we're going to be talking about dating. So listen up, singles. We have Kathleen Youngman here today, who's a relationship expert, and Deanna Lorraine, who's a very successful dating coach. So they're going to give us their secrets on how to find love or stay happy single.
Ready.
Sophia Silva is a positive psychology coach who shares with her audiences the knowledge of leading figures to provide a roadmap for people who are interested in leading a life worth living. This is What the Flow with Sophia Silva.
So welcome, ladies.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So I want to talk about what makes us happy in a relationship. How can we find that?
All right. Such a broad question, but I like it. Really? What makes you happy in a relationship is you have to be happy yourself, and you have to find what it takes and what it means to make you happy.
I feel like what I'm hearing is that we shouldn't look for a partner to make us happy. We should be happy already, and then that person just compliments us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think so.
not so much that idea that you complete me, that really is a fallacy. And the more that we look to have other people meet our unmet needs from childhood and that kind of thing, the more trouble we can get into. Although our relationships hopefully can be healthy and fulfilling enough that they can be, healing to some degree. But ultimately we need to find that, within ourselves.
Yeah.
And what about looking for someone who is a good fit for us versus looking for someone who is very attractive or has a lot of money or just external things like that, which I think especially nowadays with online dating or with things like Tinder, it's so easy to fall into that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make us happy, and that's not really what's good for us.
I mean, we know from the research that couples that do really well have a strong sense of friendship. They're interested in each other. They know each other. They're not just all about themselves. They're respectful. They have healthy boundaries. They can have conflicts and things, which we're all going to have in our relationships, without getting contemptuous and mean. They can really, be influenced a little bit by each other and understand there's a little bit of truth in everything. And they have a sense of sort of shared meaning and purpose. And in the end, especially when you're married a long time like I have, in the end, that's what really keeps people together, is those shared values and shared dreams.
Shared values. Yeah, absolutely. And what about communication? Because I think communication plays a big role in what both of you are saying. And I know you also work a lot with communication in relationships. A lot of times I think people are so scared to talk about the difficult things that are the things that are difficult to talk about, maybe be it finances or be it your feelings or stuff like that. How can we work towards bringing up those tough conversations?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, two of the biggies in relationships, it's transparency and clarity. So for one thing, we need to be clear, like you're saying, about, what are our boundaries around finances or child rearing or, our relationship fidelity, whatever it might be, is really being clear on that and being open and transparent about it. And unfortunately, we don't always know, especially when, couples, young and just starting off in our 20s and that kind of thing. So even having that vision can be difficult because they're not quite sure what that looks like. But to be able to, communicate and communicate respectfully. People tell me all the time, we're having trouble communicating. That's the number one reason people come in. And I'll realize they're communicating. It's how they're communicating and what they're communicating. And are they respectful? And are they defensive? And are they angry? And, so can we communicate and be on the same team?
What about people who maybe aren't in a relationship? How can they be happy being single and working on themselves?
I do think that, it's really important, there's a difference between proactively looking for the right one, which I teach my clients. You've got to be proactive. You can't just be sitting on your couch at home doing nothing, because you kind of give up the right to do nothing if you're single and you're looking for love. You have to go out of your house and you do have to put in some effort. But there's a difference between being proactive and being desperate. Having desperate energy is polarizing, and that's going to repel the opposite sex and it's going to repel your soulmate. But being proactive is important. So you're taking actions to find your significant other, and you're also inwardly doing things that make you happy and bring you joy.
So what does this look like?
So in practice, though, it would look like you have a dating strategy plan, or a relationship attraction plan is what I call it. And so every week you're going to places and putting yourself into places where you are going to meet the opposite sex. And you're, it is a kind of a numbers game. So you're putting yourself in front of men or women if you're a man. you're also doing things just for you that light you up.
Yes.
Maybe you take dance lessons.
Yeah.
You know, or maybe you start taking art because you've always loved taking art classes or something, or taking a foreign language and getting proficient at it. I recently started taking dance classes, and I love it because it gets you whatever it is that you need to find a hobby or two that lights you up.
Right.
Because when you're in that space of joy and exciting, it puts you in the flow.
Yeah.
You know, puts you in the
There's
flow.
your word.
This program is brought to you by
Anaheim Stoneworks, the company that has taken all the obstacles out of your way. From start to finish, Anaheim Stoneworks takes care of each and every step to give your home the unique look that you've been dreaming of. Anaheim Stoneworks. Quality from start to finish.
Master Toddy LA Training Center offers authentic Muay Thai training with locations in Bangkok, Pomona, and Anaheim. For more information, visit mastertoddyla.com. I was just gonna say what you're describing is
Law of
very
attraction.
similar to flow.
Yeah, it puts you in the flow, and when you're in the flow and you're all excited about life and stuff, that's when you kind of that's when you attract the opposite sex to you, and when you attract that kind of person who's vibrating on that level to you.
Absolutely. So what you're saying is that we need to be in flow or doing activities such as dancing or whatever it is that gets us into our flow state on our own before we can, successfully be with someone else and maybe be in flow with that person as well.
I use in my office, I have, the Russian stacking dolls, and I use that as my analogy for boundaries and when I teach boundaries. And at the core is a self, as an individual.
Yeah.
So I talk about it that way, that we need to nurture that individual self, and then the couple self is secondary to that, and then, children
It's
or
a
family
part
or
of you.
a community. It's a part, so that it's very important to nurture that part of us and to know that part of us and to feel that, regardless of what happens, that we're okay on our own, that we have a world aside from our relationships even. And we know now, even in terms of desire with sexual relationships and things like that, and people being together for a long time and starting to feel like they have less desire, part of what can help with that is having a great sense of yourself and being sort of attractive to each other in that way. Like, this is so cool that you have flow, you have passion, you have interest, like this makes you interesting to me.
I like that. I love that. So us having our own interests and being our own person and being
Having your own
happy,
passions.
being happy makes us sexy. Essentially,
It does.
And
Absolutely it
interesting
does.
and all that, and when you desire yourself, really, when you think about it,
Right.
you're
Hot
more
stuff.
desirable. Like, I like me, I don't
Totally.
mind just being with me, or I have friends, or I have hobbies, or I have passions, or
Absolutely.
whatever. So I think it's a very important
I think
component.
so. Yeah.
Do you guys think that people can get into flow in a relationship, that they can do things together?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely,
they
I
can.
think so.
I
yeah.
think injecting newness into the relationship and passion on a regular basis, just not a predictable basis because that would take that away, but on a semi-regular basis is important, and I think it's important for couples to take trips together or take a hobby together, do something where there's teamwork, like a couple's bowling team or a couple's dance team or something like that, where there is an injection of freshness and newness, every once in a while, because without any newness and no freshness, it will get stale and routine, and you will kind of fall out of that flow.
Well, and it takes effort, just like anything. You think, oh, how can I stay in shape? Well, you've got to keep doing so. You got to keep working.
exactly.
And it's the same thing with relationships, though, making that effort. And even when it comes to intimacy, people will say, oh, it used to be so spontaneous, and really it wasn't, because when you think about when you're dating, you put a lot of thought and planning into seeing each other. So once we're in a long-term relationship or marriage or whatever it is, it's like this idea that now it should just happen. No, it doesn't ever really just happen, and we do need to make effort.
How can we do that to kind of get over that staleness and make an effort to?
Well, hopefully, a big part of it is wanting to. So, if you're motivated to feel that way, you're going to make more effort. Now, do I see couples that have gotten to the point where they're not that interested? Yeah, and it can be very sad, and it can be hard to turn that around sometimes. But really kind of looking at, what is it you do want, and do you want closeness? And if you do, are you willing to put something, so I tell clients, when you wake up in the morning, think of one thing you can do that day to show your partner you care for them. Just one thing. And it can be little things. So even just making that effort, and then at the end of every day, hopefully sharing something you appreciate about each other in your life together. Those little things make a huge difference, and they can spark things.
I agree.
So what about people being comfortable with being naked?
I love field.
I know. I didn't know how to ease into that one. There was no way to that just had to come in like that. But I noticed that a lot. I feel like just a lot of people or a lot of my friends that I talk to, like they're just so uncomfortable with their bodies. Like they're just naked. Like why is that and how can we overcome that? Because there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
It's your birthday suit.
It's your birthday
Absolutely.
suit. I think that if you're one of those women or men who are uncomfortable with your body, I recommend taking either pole dancing fitness class or burlesque class or something that literally gets you out of your shell, forces you out of your shell. It works, you know, because it turns the damn lights on when you're naked. but either like do something about it if you want to lose weight or build more muscle or something like that. Like if you're really technically uncomfortable with your body, or learn to love it and embrace it and like just like shout it out and be bold with it.
Right. And I think also, I mean, you know, sometimes it's who are you pairing up with, you know, because if I'm seeing somebody and they're just feeling very ashamed about their body or something, often it's because they've been in a situation where somebody was shaming. So I mean, that's the other thing is, you know, where's your self-love and who are you dating exactly, you know, and certainly with our society, especially in the Western world here, I think there's so much pressure for men as well, but generally I think for women and young girls. So I mean, we definitely have a lot of body image and eating disorder problems and that kind of thing. But it, you know, again, I think self-esteem and self-love, and then again, you know, attracting, you know, what we, you know, who we think we deserve, and all, you know, all those kinds of things are in there too.
So there's a lot of it that goes into it.
There's going to be some anxiety. I mean, some of that is just normal too. Some of that is just there's anxiety that comes with the newness. You know, a first date, a first time being sexual with somebody, all of that. That's also part of the process.
Well, thank you so much, ladies.
Yeah,
it was a pleasure having you both on.
Love it.
If you like the show, please subscribe to my channel, Sophia Silva, and follow me on Instagram or hit like on my Facebook page. And thank you for watching.
All conversation and information exchanged during participation in the sophiasilva.org website, Sophia Silva YouTube channel, or interaction with and all social media sites is intended for information and entertainment purposes only, and should not be considered a professional diagnosis or treatment. Do not confuse this information with treatment or medical advice or directions per se. Nothing posted on this site supplements or supersedes the direction of your medical caretakers. Sophia Silva, MA, does not provide the information on these pages to substitute for individualized therapy. No claim to cure, treat, diagnose, or otherwise provide mental or behavioral health care is guaranteed, promised, or implied by this site. The same applies to any professionals who might appear on this site. This website contains links to other websites and resources. We take no responsibility for the content of other resources, electronic or written. If you're in need of any health services, please contact a licensed professional or call 911.